Some secrets of the past hit harder than any modern invention, and, well, one of them is how medieval craftsmen kept their wood standing solid for generations. If you've ever walked into an old barn, church or Viking ship replica and seen beams that still look like they could hold up a roof tomorrow, you've seen history's most effective wood preservative at work. Today, modern treatments claim to do the same, but the truth is, nothing comes close to what our ancestors perfected long before factories or chemical labs existed. Before we dive in, if you're passionate about history, craftsmanship, or off-grid building, make sure to hit like, share this with your friends, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to The Hard Past. This knowledge deserves to be passed on. The survival of timber in medieval Europe wasn't a matter of aesthetics. It was a matter of life and livelihood. Every structure, every cart and every tool relied on wood. You know, just a single rotten support post could collapse a barn, ruin an entire harvest, or even endanger lives. That necessity, well, it really drove ingenuity. Medieval builders didn't have chemical preservatives or, vacuum-sealed timber. They had what was available, nature itself, and the ingenuity to make it work at the deepest level. The foundation of this historic method was pine tar, a substance produced by slowly burning pine stumps in low oxygen pits. The result is a thick, smoky resin, deceptively simple yet astonishingly effective. Vikings smeared it on ships to resist salt water. Farmers coated beams and wagon parts, and the process required no more than patience and controlled heat. Pine tar, when gently warmed, penetrates the pores of the wood, locking out moisture and halting the growth of fungi before it begins. The key here is careful heating, just enough to thin it so it pours like syrup. Too hot, and you lose the penetrating quality. Too cool, and it won't absorb. Pine tar alone, however, wasn't enough for structural wood meant to survive decades. Enter boiled linseed oil, one of Europe's most common finishing oils. Mixed in equal parts with pine tar, it carried the resin deeper into the grain while providing flexibility. Warm the mixture, apply it to wood in sunlight, or dip beams completely into a heated trough. Small beams might only need a few minutes in the mixture, while larger timbers required repeated rolling or brushing. The result was a coating that didn't merely sit on the surface, but became part of the wood itself, a living armour that moved with the timber instead of cracking or peeling. But the brilliance of medieval preservation doesn't stop there. Builders often added sifted hardwood ash to the mix. This wasn't an arbitrary addition. Fungi and rot cannot thrive in alkaline conditions, and ash is loaded with minerals that create precisely that environment. Beyond its chemical effect, the ash thickened the mixture and produced a subtle matte finish indistinguishable from the beams archaeologists uncover today. The combination of tar, oil and ash became a formula that could endure years of rain, snow and soil moisture without any modern intervention. The real secret behind this method was saturation, not superficial coating. Medieval craftsmen knew that brush-on treatments only protected the exterior. To truly safeguard timber, beams were immersed entirely in heated troughs, ensuring every pore absorbed the preservative. For those replicating this today, a stock tank, warm mixture and patience are all that's needed. Multiple coats for larger wood pieces guarantee that every inch is fortified. The process is straightforward, accessible and highly effective, even on a backyard scale. Tool, handles, fence posts, outdoor furniture and small construction timbers can all benefit from this centuries-tested approach. What makes this method remarkable is not only its effectiveness, but its sustainability. Unlike many modern chemical treatments, it does not leach toxic compounds into the soil and the materials. Pine tar, linseed oil, ash are renewable and inexpensive. This is history that works because it respects the natural properties of wood. It hardens, seals and protects without fighting the material itself. Medieval builders understood timber as a living substance, something to be reinforced and guided, not chemically dominated. That knowledge has persisted quietly in historic buildings and ancient shipwrecks. For enthusiasts of history, reenactment, homesteading or survival, this technique is more than a curiosity. It's a skill with real-world applications. Replicating it offers both a connection to the ingenuity of the past and, a practical solution that actually outperforms many modern alternatives. Every layer of tar and oil, every bit of sifted ash is a lesson in resilience, patience and, chemistry born from necessity. And perhaps the most striking part is this. It still works. Even scaled down, applied in your garden, workshop or small cabin project, the results are identical to the historic examples that have lasted for centuries. In studying these old methods, we're reminded that our ancestors were not primitive. They were precise. They had no room for failure, and every technique was tested by harsh reality. Modern shortcuts often promise results, but medieval builders delivered durability that has stood the test of time. For anyone serious about learning from history and applying it in the present, these forgotten skills are treasures waiting to be revived. If you found value in this guide, don't let it stop here. Share it with fellow history enthusiasts, try the method yourself, and keep the knowledge alive. And make sure to subscribe to The Hard Past for more deep dives into techniques, craftsmanship, and strategies our ancestors depended on. The past is full of solutions we've almost forgotten, but with every insight we bring them back to life.